because we're looking at the peak of Stardom, right where they're laying down in the fucking coffin right now. That's what really will be hidden.
All right, man. I'm not gonna pretend like we actually got called out on keeping the strong style. Said it wasn't no hitting the music in a while going on One Nation Radio.
Oh, gee, I wonder why. And
Look,
I mean, we talked about it a month or two ago. But saying, hey, man, like Okada, like from weekend to weekend, appears to be a competent booking match that people care about, even though it's a hodgepodge of these people are in and out of factions. People aren't in factions. We put people that are in factions with people that are in factions and make all the number count work or whatever else for all these matches. And that's been the case for a while now because Suzu and May ain't had a tag. There's a tag team that haven't had a faction forever. But it's been this situation where, like, from a big picture perspective, what excites you? What are you interested in seeing at the top of the promotion? Who have been presented as the top stars in the promotion, and where are they going, or have they been replaced? And the answer is they haven't been replaced, but they ain't doing nothing of real like relevance. Like, I'll take it back. Mayu, IWGP champion, but like that's a once every month or two type of thing. And some of these matches aren't even in Stardom. They're ice ribbon matches, right? They're matches that are
Ice Lore.
No. Well, that's not Ice Lord, but like you got that. Tam, she's been side questing by building up her stable of youngins, right? And that's what she's been doing. That's what she's doing in side quest. Shiri got reunited with Konami, and Konami and her became the tag team champions. More on that later. But generally speaking, like with the whole, like, okay, we're blowing up DDM because Julie's getting out of here. We have to get rid of the IP, right? So that, we got to get rid of the Rossi Ogawa, Stardom IP from just a month ago, 2 months ago. Got to get all of it out throw out the baby with the bathwater, right? Right? You had these two dominant factions in Donald Armando and Queen's Quest, and then we're over the last few years, throw it out, right? So, you had the Queen's Quest match. You had the Queen's Quest versus Oedo Tai match, where post Utami leaving, it was if you lose, Kamitani, everybody is out of the faction except for you. You have to carry this flag alone, right? They lose. Kamitani is walking around everywhere with the Queen's Quest baseball jersey on still. She then again befriends the red belt champion Micah due to their mutual respect, because they have risen up the ranks from 2019 Young Girls into being Kamitani, the greatest white belt champion ever, Micah, the current white belt champion, and them having, fights over the futures belt back in 2020, that sort of thing. That is her career rival.
Current red belt champion, you mean?
What did I say?
You said current white belt champ.
Kamitani, greatest white belt champion of the time. Micah, at the time, was the current red belt champion. Now she's no longer that. So, okay, you see them mutually bonding. You see Kamitani's by herself. Maybe she drops her faction, whatever, drop the Queen's Quest thing, whatever. We don't know. But, like, she is in Micah's corner, and it makes sense because they both respect each other. After Micah got her heart broken by Kamitani at the 2022 Fukuoka pay-per-view in Micah's hometown, where she beats her in the main event when she was going for the white belt against Kamitani. Kamitani said, like, hey, like, I know you're mad at me. I know you say you hated me at the press conference, all this kind of stuff, but, like, honestly, like, I need you in my career. I wouldn't have got here without you. And then Michael was like, you know what? My heart's broken, but I appreciate that. Flash forward to this. I'm in your corner now, or whatever else, because Oedo Tai's got number game, they cheating, and you out here in your corner with Waka and Mina and Xena. You outnumbered because Oedo Tai, they swarm like killer bees, right? So, match is happening, and it's a good match. Is it a great match? No. Is it a very good match? I'd probably say it's good. I give it at least 3.5 stars. Natsuko Tora versus Micah for the red belt over the weekend on Sunday or Sunday morning, and match is fine. And then earlier in the match, also while Momo attacks Micah in front of the ref Daichi, Kamitani stops and attacks Momo. Flash forward to the end of the match where Micah appears has the match in control. She's about to get the landing three count from Daichi. She pulls the ref out the ring and onto the announce table. Micah gets up. What the fuck? Then the fuckery happens. The spit the mist hit with a Death Valley driver. Micah kicks out. Natsuko goes to the top, hits the swanton, gets the win. And then Kamitani, who is still wearing the Queen's Quest jersey or baseball jersey, was in the corner for Micah, and also helped Micah stop getting her ass beat by Momo interfering on the outside. Then joins the faction that exiled her faction and sent her teammates into the Stardom streets to go find another home as orphans just 2 months ago. Why? Because apparently she couldn't deal with Micah beating her in her red belt match back in February, even though the Natsuko and Queen's Quest and Oedo tie shit happened like less than 2 months ago. It's like, it was one of those, they'll never see it coming. You know why I would never see it coming? Because it made no fucking sense.
I don't have anything I want to watch anymore in this company. And it started from when Julia lost the red belt for me. And then like Kamitani getting injured in the Grand Prix last year. I was in for one thing. For Kamitani to come back and win the red belt. And as a babyface, how she always was. I'm done. Suzuki, Azumi, and Starlight Kid are all in the same unit.
They all, yeah.
Azumi and Starlight Kid, I feel like they should never be friends ever. Like they need to, like, why are they together? But let me get back to the Kamitani thing. Like, they strap up Natsuko Tora, who is someone I would just simply would not strap up, because at no point has she ever been one of the 10 best wrestlers in the company. So that just would be my rule of thumb, right?
Okay, let's. I'm agree with you, and I'm going to add on to your point. Not only is that from a in-ring performance perspective, that is also from a dollars and cents perspective.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there's no, for me, there would be no reason to strap someone up that isn't one of the 10 best wrestlers unless they are some back-breaking business attraction.
She's neither.
And then you look at the unit, right? We talk about hierarchies and we talk about whatever, and it's like, if your entire unit is better than you, what the fuck are we doing? Like, Kamitani, for me, the reason why I like Kamitani, because I thought she was kind of this earnest, kind of like, kind of geeky, but ultimately, like, she was tapping into like something that was pushing her forward or whatever, and she was rising up the mountain or whatever, like, as a babyface or whatever.
Yep.
And then, like, to turn her heel, to make her go work for Natsuko Tora, and I'm just like, it was like all these stories that I thought I was following from, like, 18 months ago, like when we were covering this thing a lot heavier, right? Like, none of this shit has worked out. So it's like nothing that I thought was like they've switched all this shit, due to business reasons, that we've gone over before, inside the promotion, outside the promotion, people quitting, people, Marigold getting started. And you got to go with people in the interim until you can find out what you want to do, right? But, like, when I saw Saya Kamitani win the white belt, I know a lot of people had questions about that. I was like, why are they doing that? I saw that as whatever. She'll do something in the second half of the year because that's like she lost the early challenge to Maika. She'll come back the end of the year, win the Grand Prix, and then the end of the year is Saya Kamitani time. But am I crying because it didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work? Sure. I'll wear that. I'll be the crier on that. However, if I would have gotten my way, I'm sure this shit would have, been a lot more satisfying and appealing than whatever the fuck happened with Natsuko Tora ending up with the red belt now.
It just makes no sense that, you used to always make the LIJ jokes that like Naito is the third best wrestler in LIJ.
Yeah.
Given his health and point, like, yeah, Hiromu, you got Shingo are better than him, right? Naito's also the biggest draw in the country domestically. so regardless of like, yeah, I think in a match for my life, I'd rather see Shingo or Hiromu in the ring than Naito. I cannot in good faith say that, hey, you gotta just throw that guy out and pretend like Naito's not actually like somebody you put at the top of the card because of what he draws and his connection to the crowds. Right, like even with the Sonata and Evil stuff, or those that they tried and failed with over the last few years or since 2020, is tied to the part where, well, like when they're in the rings with Naito, it does good business. So you have to just bear through it because they got to do something to pay these bills in this particular case, right? With the Natsuko stuff, it's like, okay, so I've had people tell me that like different things as far as what they think is that the end goal, the end game for this. And none of them sound like they make any damn sense. Right? So I've had people tell me, okay, well, they'll have Maika win it back. And I'm like, why? They did nothing with the 7-month reign she just had to elevate her to be a top star, to be someone that you want to see go get her title back after being wrong. And two, the heat was completely on Kamitani, not Tora. Why in the fuck does Tora have the belt when it should be Kamitani has the belt? If the future storyline is, and someone explains to me that like, all right, you have the short reign for Natsuko, Mike gets it right back. And then you build towards Kamitani winning the Grand Prix as a heel, and then going to affect what you think is like whatever their big show at the end of the year. With
Don't that
historic crossover, it sounds backwards. Yes, I know. That's why I think it's fucking stupid. So it's either a historic crossover or it would be if there is a Dream Queendom. And I'm just like, you guys understand that I can see their attendance year by year, right? And you know that like they have not done a 3,000 seat show or 3,000 seat attendance yet this year. There's a reason for that. This shit they're doing, like they're not building up towards these big shows. And remember, I was ringing the alarms back during All-Star Dream Queendom, right? Or All-Star Grand, whatever the fuck. No, the same
March.
namesake of the March show that was the same namesake as the Yokohama Arena show they did in 2023, right? That was an all-time wrestling show. And I was like, hey man, what's going on? Like this isn't the same card. And I had people say, hey, well, I didn't like that card.
That was the peak,
whatever.
James.
I know. It's obvious. I was like, but people were telling me, they were trying to talk me down, be like, look, man, like I am watching this more than you are. And now I'm like, okay, you are watching more than me. And I'm just like, I can look at the cage match scores. I can see like the matches are nearly like this. This used to be this was a quality in-ring match factory, right? Like this was always at worst, like if you look at the cage match, this is always at worst one of the 5 best wrestling promotions in the world as far as giving you 7s, 8s, and even 9s.
James, do you think we're going to see Maika or Natsuko Tora demand that PWI put them number 1 on the women's list?
Nope.
To give them either of them that ranking?
You're not getting that. You're not,
because I know Shuri
say.
did. In those days of Shuri being on top, of Utami being on top, like And then like, what have they done since? It's like, what are they doing with Shuri? Like, she's just like,
well, she's lost her tag partner because the tag partner turned heel a month ago, and like now she's doing that. Like they are building this company that was never a heavy heat company around all heat. Like there are like Natsuko also won the belt the day before, right? And that was a really fun story. But overwhelmingly, but if you look around, like, what are the feel good moments of the year in Stardom compared to what they used to be? Where are they?
Like
this was the fun promotion because they always gave you happy, like, even when you had like stuff that felt like harsh, right? Like, okay, Natsupoi leaving backstabbing Don Amano to join Cosmic Angels. That wasn't the main event you go home with and you just like, oh damn. There was something after that. Like when Tam beat the shit out of Natsupoi in that cage match, right? They main evented with another cage match to give you a go home feeling happy that you saw some good pro wrestling and not the heaviness. This has never been a promotion that sent you home, feeling like, oh, like that was rough or, oh, I feel bad. This was one of the ones that was like, yo, and it's not just it's a heel thing. It's okay, you put a heel in place and the purpose of heat is for a payoff. I don't see any logical payoff for this unless they're going to make Starlight Kid the Red Belt champion, because Kamitani would have been the answer. Because if they had just cheated Natsuko, and Natsuko just cheated Micah while she's with Micah in her corner,
she steps up as the next challenger.
The whole story is Natsuko Tora and Oedo Tai took everything from this woman and she got it all back. And now she's a Red Belt champion. That's a great story. This, now she's an underling. Rich, she's the high flying goon. This, like, not only is this bad from a you made her a dumbass, you also aren't playing to what would have been the better story. She is a high flying wrestler that now has to be a heel and do heel shtick in her matches. And don't get me wrong, like the Oedo Tai of 2021 is not here anymore. They have a talent roster. Natsuko, ever since she hurt her knee, is actually a good wrestler. It's still a heel faction in a promotion that was not a heat promotion. Like the whole identity of this promotion has changed, and it's like, okay, Don Armando, Julia left. Don Armando, get the fuck out of here. We're gonna get rid of it, right? Queen's Quest, get rid of it because Utami's left apparently. Even though that was a holdover from EO, get rid of it. And what we'll do is, and like the whole aesthetic or vibe of Queen's Quest, its whole entire identity was Io Shirai's school of gifted youngsters, right? It was Io Shirai and Azuki and Momo and Azumi, and then they would have some foreigners with her because every faction had foreigners, right? And then it evolves into you add Konami, who was under 25 at the time. Then he add Kamitani, who was under 25 at the time. More to youngins. Then they added,
and they all wear tassels. They all got fly jackets.
And they all had their own colorway with the mask they had at the time and stuff. And they were all individual, especially the top four with Utami and Momo and Kamitani and Azumi. They all were distinct. They all had their own colorways, but they all had gold in it to match the aesthetic of it's Queen's Quest, right? And they had that golden flag they would always bring down that got updated. Then Momo leaves. Okay, whatever. They persevere and continue on to do the same thing, right? It's still the young
Hannon
like people that are going to Hannon, Lady C, who's older but unexperienced because it was younger into the game, debuted in 2020. Like the whole thing was like Amasaki also came in a couple years ago, right? It's young, who is the same age as Azumi. All people that are young. It's the Young Guns faction. All right, Utami leaves. Bury it. Get rid of it. Don't try to make Kamitani the leader. Get rid of it. And then, like, what we'll do is we'll make a new faction full of Starlight Kid, who is what year is it? 2024.
Yeah.
Who's 23? Azumi, Mei Sierra, Suzu Suzuki, and Miyu Yamasaki, who are also 22. So they replaced the Young Guns faction with a Young Guns faction under a different name. Got to get rid of the IP. Then Oedo Tai, after this, they rebrand themselves. They go from Oedo Tai to Hate. Their group name is Hate. So they changed their name for no fucking reason whatsoever. It's almost as if they're saying, "Hey, all this Rossi Ogawa IP, all this stuff that you've been watching the past 5 years, we're airbrushing over it. We're going to have the same fucking factions feeling the same with the same fucking utilities, except we're getting rid of the names. Why? Because we need to sell worse merch, because having name brands don't mean anything. We'll start over. And in 5 years, we can hope to sell as many shirts we can worth selling. No. So, Rich, as you know,
this is crazy.
Queen's Quest is my favorite.
Bro, this is like, this is so, like, the things we liked about Stardom over the years were the great wrestling, the connections between the factions, and then like the rise and fall of people between the factions and on their way to winning the fucking belts. Like whether it's tag teams, whether it's
trios,
white belt, whether it's trios, whether it's a red belt, people felt like they were going in a way like towards these things. Now it's just like, like it like this entire like thing has gotten weaker. Like we're talking about like, I think the decline of the era. Like like we saw it. Like we covered it. We loved it. And it's gone. Like and it's something else now.
And so, as we mentioned, like you had these original distinct factions or whatever else. And the only faction that is around that is older than like 3 years old now is Stars. Helmed by Mayu Iwatani, who almost everybody who's paying attention thinks is leaving the first chance she gets out of Stardom to go to Marigold.
The writing is on the wall.
I wonder if Stars will be around after Mayu leaves, if she leaves. So, as I mentioned, Queen's Quest, like, Mayu Iwatani, my favorite wrestler in the world. Tan's my second favorite wrestler in the world. My favorite faction was always Queen's Quest from the first time I ever watched Stardom in 2019, right? So, let's go through it. This is the most recent Queen's Quest shirt I bought, right? See it? Like it? Cool, right? Cool. Can you see it? Does it show up on the screen?
Like a little bit. Yeah. I can see it a little. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Queen's Quest. See? Navy and gold. Dark navy and gold. That's the most recent one. All right. This one. I bought this one when I came from Japan with in 2022.
Yeah.
See it? Nice. This is the back of the shirt. Yeah. Real cool. Dark navy in red. This is the classic original Queen's Quest shirt with the original logo. Yep. Out there. That's 3 shirts. That's not the first Queen's Quest shirt I ever bought. I had to get rid of this one, but until I could actually get my hands on an original logo Queen's Quest shirt, Rich, remember we went to New York? Man, I had to buy the American flag Queen's Quest shirt because they weren't some of the regular ones. I want that one so bad. I ended up dropping whatever it was, $30, $40, whatever it was, on a lame ass Americanized red, white, and blue Queen's Quest shirt.
The mega Queen's Quest shirt.
Yep. Basically, it's American flag in front of the logo. So once I got my original logo shirt, because after the Bushi Road acquisition, and they were selling on the token shop, I disposed of that shirt. But I have bought 4 faction Queen's Quest shirts, and I don't even include like this one, another one, the Azumi shirt. I mean, this still exists. The Azumi shirt, hot, that's still there. But I also got, the now evil Saya Kamitani from the historic crossover shirt. She's now evil now. The high flying white belt champion is evil now.
Unreal.
She's not what she never was. She was at the time. Great, awesome, fantastic. Fuck, man. So then, during that weekend, I found Anna Jax would be the Grand Prix.
We'll get to that. So Nithman was saying it's wild that Stardom's going downhill at the same time the AEW women's division is on the up, and then Anna Jay now in the Grand Prix. So like, I gotta say,
she gonna turn the tides.
Hey, I gotta say, I feel like I can be upset about a lot more than Anna Jay being
right. People were complaining about that. I was like, hey man, and I guess they didn't know what the situation was. Like, bro, what they just did, like that's a drop in the bucket. Like, granted, like after watching the 3 matches from Death for Dishonor from Friday, all 6 of the women should be in here instead of NJ, obviously. But whatever, man. For me, like, you got this going on. You got, I look at the blocks for the Grand Prix. There's only one block. I think it's Killer Block.
Hey, man. Anna J gonna look. If Anna J bring some shirts over there and some merch and set the table up after the show, I don't know if they still do that under Bougie Road.
No, they don't do that. They stopped doing it once Bougie Road purchased.
Okay.
Got them.
I'm about to say she would go triple platinum out there, James.
She probably would. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's just like this company was a feel-good company, and right now it's been all heat. It's been all breakups and nastiness, and like, all right, man.
It's like, if I want to still watch this thing, it's like I have to like completely engage.
It's only for the matches because the Grand Prix is coming. It's going to be the best time of the year if they're ever going to turn it around.
Yeah,
that's
it's like I have to completely start anew, like, and forget everything that I thought we were going towards, or forget, whatever, because they might just turn like the best babyface like going heel and make them the what member of the faction, like
right.
Like no higher than the 2 because the champion has the belt.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is like, that's the part that's like really frustrating. Is just all year, like from a main picture perspective, and hell, like the day before, Natsuko wins the white belt after she's been chasing it since the spring of 2021. Great moment, right? But then you're watching Stardom. But if you're watching Stardom, you see that like the person that she that was white belt champion had the belt for 170 days, 170 something days, lose it to an outsider, wins it back 3 weeks later, and then comes into after winning it back 3 weeks later, goes into the match with Natsuko less than 2 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, is like, well then what the? And not only that, is like, Natsuko and Ano and their connection with the old Acra stuff getting to this point, and also the Cosmic Angel stuff, is like, so why do you do this? Why do you do this Michael Wada title change? Just cause for funsies?
Yeah.
It's this like a kickback for like the Shigeru Hashimoto stuff from last year? What is this? I don't like.
Micah had that belt.
Everything that they seem to be doing from a big picture thing, like, even if I like the way they have set up the tables, if you will, for the dinner, like the game of musical chairs to get there was like, it was a mess, and it's like, it's a pastime. Like, I may like the destination eventually, but I damn sure ain't enjoying the journey. And if I'm not enjoying the journey, what proof of concept after the last 7 months, or not 7 months, 6 months of Toru Okada makes you think that, like, even though he set up this nice new faction, this new Genesis, Neo Genesis, which is the new Queen's Quest. If they set this new thing of Queen's Quest up, this new version of Queen's Quest up, in theory, like, against this better version or more talented version of Oedo Tai that's called Hate, like, after the last 6 months from big picture perspective, is like, I still shouldn't necessarily trust you, because the last half of the year hasn't been the best, has been a decline from what it was. And it's like, also, even if you like the hill turn and everything, because some people do like it, which mystifies the fuck out of me. Maybe they're NASCO fans. I heard people defended because they're like, well, this is, in Dangerous Alliance and All Japan in the 80s, Dump Matsumoto was the leader, and and Bull Nakano and Aja Kong were underlings. I was like, yeah, you ever watch a Dump Matsumoto match in the 80s? Was it fun to watch? It had a lot of heat, but was it fun to watch when you had to rewatch it with the perspective of you're watching it from the perspective of the 2020s? No? Okay, then.
We don't in the 80s. No.
So, but even when you go through all that, it's like, all right, man.
I'll say this. Like, if you're someone that doesn't watch Stardom or haven't watched Stardom, this is a time to jump in. Like, this is either a jump out.
Clean slate.
Look,
pretend nothing ever happened before.
This is a jump out or a jump in part. I feel like I got 1 foot out the door right now, and it's like, yeah, man, I saw what I saw. I saw the stories, the people that I like, the rises. Unfortunately, not all of them paid off. Never got the Azumi and Starlight Kid red belt, whatever. Never saw Kamitani win it,
I think they're playing. I'm just like, I just watching this stuff. I'm just like, hey man, they don't appear to actually have a real plan, because you will know why. When have you ever watched a hot promotion? You want to argue that this promotion's hot or this was a hot angle? When have you ever seen a promotion turn around by putting the belt on their 19th best wrestler at best?
I think that's a great place to leave
best. When have you ever seen a hot promotion say, we are doing X, Y, and Z very, very well, so we are going to then like completely swerve you?
Zach said Natsuko's holding that thing until that Netflix show ends. Jesus.
If that is actually the agenda, fits in with what I've been saying about, hey man, they're doing a lot of editorial mandates that like just scream to you inorganic, force fed, because this is not what this promotion was, and it does. And look, Arasa's not here anymore. If you want to change it, fine. Can it be better than this?
Yeah, it's almost like, damn, man, I don't want to have to watch WWE Japan, but man, look, Dreamstar Grand Prix starting soon, ain't it? Like,
I don't remember the date on that, but it is. This is like, I've never seen it be this bad, and from a big picture perspective, like they've had heel champions. The first champion we ever had was Kagetsu. Right? Yeah. Like, they've had heel champions. That's not the problem. It's not someone I don't like. I don't see the path towards having the big hero beat this person and then you're happy for having to endure that shit. Like, that's another part we're not talking about, is like, do hot promotions put the belt on people on, like, hey, the heat is, they're not good wrestler? Like, last time, one of the most notable times, it's actually funny, right? Because I was watching.
I'll say this is a bad.
Watching Matt Tate.
I was gonna say this is a bad week to make that example when they about to let Solo Sikoa main event a stadium show, but never mind that.
He's not winning. So moving on. So what I was getting to say is like, hey man, I watched Death for Dishonor, and like I saw a Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii tag team challenge versus Taven and Bennett, and that match was good as hell. And ultimately, I was like, hey, man, remember when Ring of Honor wasn't owned by Tony Khan? Remember when they got Madison Square Garden and then they did Madison Square Taven, and now they had to be sold? When you put the belt on people that are not the elite in your company, these are the things that can happen. No knocking against Matt Taven. Matt Taven's a good-ass wrestler. He's just not one of the elite wrestlers in the promotion. And it's a bit unfair to do it to him like this. Matt Taven's hierarchy-wise,
that man,
is a hell of a lot better than Natsuko Torres and Stardom.
I'll say this. No Matt Taven disrespect for me. Like, they gave him that one random main event on Dynamite against Orange Cassidy, and that man went crazy. Like, he's like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to get a main event. I'm doing front flips through tables out here.
Oh, man. You got to watch that match. That match from Friday. Good-ass match. Goofy finish, but good ass match. I mean, you can. Until the finish, I was on great, right? Like cooking, even, right? But yeah, like, yeah, man. Just this was very disappointing, and like, I'm gonna reach out to some other people to be like, hey, can we, because the Grand Prix is on the 10th. Like, hey, it starts up, do a proper preview, kind of recap what kind of key details we may have been missing or whatever else from the micro stuff. I'm willing to admit, like, hey, I'm not watching like I used to. I'm only watching pay-per-views. Like, I'm not watching the house shows because the house shows ain't as good as they used to be, because there's a mixed match of all this stuff. There's more young people in, and it's like it's a bit of a spinning place type of situation where there's no real cohesiveness as far as like you look at these cards and you're like, all right. This is definitely like, these last 3 matches are all going to be contenders for 4 stars, like the house shows used to be. This is not.
Yeah, it's hard, man. There's a lot of parallels to Evil winning the belt,
and they're still doing way too many fucking pay-per-views. That's another problem.
I'm about to say there's a lot of parallels with Evil winning the belt. And kind of same. A lot of the same arguments, still apply, except there's no Tetsuya Naito around the corner,
Right. Right. And even the people that defended it then came back around and were like, you know what? I was tripping, big dog.
Yeah, a lot of them came back.
A lot of them. A lot of the ones that were most vocal about it, that were getting shouted at the time and were not here and going, nah, 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 fingers in the ears, nah, 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 I don't want to hear it. They eventually came around and like,
I gotta say,
that was some
James,
bullshit.
when we normally come out like hard on something that we don't fuck with, and then we get blowback on these type of things, we normally win in the end.
Yeah. And that's why, in the Discord, right? Like I did the whole, like, let's check the historical pro wrestling, let it play out scoreboard. 120 common sense wins to common sense points to like 3 let it play out. When you go out on a limb like that, it's very rare that you're gonna be able to thread that needle, because the reason why we thinking it's bad, because it's like, hey man, this you got a real low percentage of success with this one. So we'll see.
I just feel like it's very clear, like as far as like what I felt like was the hot time of this company, and this is not it. Like the hot time was like 2021 summer into like, pretty much that whole year up until when you went to Japan or whatever. That was the peak prime period, and it's not going to stay that way forever. I understand that, but you don't have to, like, you still have a lot of those same people around. They're just not doing shit. Like that's right. Like
Tam is side questing. Mayu has this belt in the movie thing. It's like made her just be sequestered from like being around the red belt when it would have helped Mike. And I remember I've been saying this the whole time. I was like, hey man, when I talked about Stardom a couple months ago, I was like, hey man, like, why is Micah not being elevated by beating people? Because like when Kamitani and Shuri became red and white belt champions, and whatever belt they actually had, like they got skulls to put on the mantle. Like, right? Like Kamitani beat Tam twice. Oh. She beat Utami the night before she beat Tam the second time. Shuri kicked Julia in Mayu's ass in back-to-back nights. Shuri put Tam to sleep in the Grand Prix, and then Tam woke up and thought she was still in the fight.
Yeah, man. Maybe they don't want to do. Maybe people don't want a job. Who knows? But